every 20 minutes. It's your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good afternoon, I'm meteorologist James McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your mid-afternoon statewide forecast update. And take a look at the satellite and radar. Most of the state still dry with lots of sunshine and not much going on. But if you look to the west, just crossing the state line into the western part of the state, we do have some pretty heavy thunderstorms that have moved through and a few showers as well. But these are a little bit more severe earlier, but have started to weaken a little bit, at least lately. And a few showers in the eastern and northeastern part of the state as well, moving through some of the ridges in the eastern part of the state. But we'll take a closer look at those storms crossing the Mississippi-Alabama state line. And again, we had some severe thunderstorm warnings on a couple of these cells earlier. The National Weather Service in Birmingham saw that the storms were weakening and decided not to issue a warning on those as they crossed the state line. But still some heavy rain, good bit of lightning moving to parts of northern Sumter County. Looks like Livingston right there along I-20 has a heavy cell right over it right now. Also up into Pickens County as well. Looks like especially the northern part of that county has some heavy rain there north of Reform and Carrollton. So again, we've got some heavy cells moving across the state, so don't be surprised that moves across the state line, but nothing severe at this point, but we'll continue to watch that. Further to the east, a few scattered showers again in parts of St. Clair County and into Etowah and also into Calhoun. A few heavier showers there near Anniston at this point, but nothing too significant to look at there. Looking at our sky cams, Florence looking beautiful out there with some blue skies and a few clouds. It's 82 degrees, dew point's at 62, so again, the air mass is still pretty comfortable out there. And then looking in Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama, kind of pointing the camera off towards the west-northwest, seeing one of those storms that's crossing the state line there off in the distance here, but at least at Tuscaloosa itself, not currently raining with a temperature at 85 degrees. And then Dauphin Island down along the coast, it's a beautiful day there. Blue skies, it's 85 degrees. And again, the moisture, the humidity isn't too bad right now. So what we're watching for today and the rest of this week. So again, a few showers and storms, mainly in the western part of the state, a few places in the northern part of the state, but most of the state staying dry as we go through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. And then a hot afternoon in store for Friday. So it's definitely expected to see the heat levels go up, although the humidity won't be too bad for Friday, but definitely will be pretty hot. Temperatures right now, we're in the 80s across most of the state. It's 88 in Selma, 88 in Birmingham, 84 in Coleman, a little bit cooler right there across near the state line where there's been some of the rain falling. It's 87 in Monroeville. And then as far as the forecast lows for tonight, pretty similar to what we've been seeing here in the last few days. Temperatures falling down into the 60s, although maybe not quite as cool as we got in some spots this morning where we got into the upper 50s. And then as we get into tomorrow, we expect those highs to be in a similar range of what we see today, maybe a little bit warmer in spots, getting into the low 90s here and there, especially in the southern part of the state. Looking at the futurecast through the rest of the night tonight, as these storms move across the state line, they're moving into a not as unstable air mass as what we're seeing in Mississippi. So that's why they're starting to weaken generally as they're moving further east into Alabama. So the model continuing to pick up on that here, that as things cross into the state, they should weaken and not be as heavy, although there still will be some pretty heavy showers there, just like are happening right now, right there near the state line. As we get into tomorrow morning, a few scattered showers still possible. And as we'll have this cold front approaching tomorrow, we expect, as we get into the afternoon, evening, a probably a little bit wider coverage of some showers and thunderstorms, especially up to the north, but the model even picking up on some possible down towards the south as well. So I think a few spots that haven't had rain the last couple of days may get some, but not many again as we get into tomorrow. And then as we move into Friday afternoon, looks like things should mainly start to dry out a little bit more for them. But for tomorrow, the SPC has updated their most recent outlook for severe weather for tomorrow and have included just the very kind of northeast sliver of Alabama in their marginal severe risk, the level 1 out of 5. So that goes basically into parts of the northern part of Jackson County, just a little sliver of northeast Madison County, and then up in kind of the northern part of DeKalb County as well. So there is possibility nearer to the cold front where there could be a couple of stronger storms, maybe a severe thunderstorm or two, with gusty winds being the main risk with those. So again, we'll be paying attention to those, but the rest of the state should not see anything in the way of severe weather for tomorrow. Here's your tropical development chances, and the National Hurricane Center has bumped that up a little bit to 80% for the red region here for this wave that's moving into that region now. This is over the next week again, so even a week from now, expecting it to be about right here, moving towards the Lesser Antilles. And again, it's still to be determined exactly what direction that this will end up going, but we'll be continuing to keep an eye on it. But again, the same story is that further to the west, in the places around the Gulf that's immediately impacting in Alabama, not expecting any issues with that in the next 7 to 10 days. Temperature outlook as we move into next week. Again, we still expect the northeastern part of the state to be a little bit cooler than average, so we kind of continue that trend. As you move further to the south, it's going to be closer to average in general. As we move a little bit further out from that, then the next week after that, we do look to see a little bit of a warming trend as we get further into September. So maybe not quite as cool as it's been. We have a little bit more of a warmer September on tap as we get at least into the middle part of the month. All right, your 7-day outlook for the northern part of the state. Again, we're getting into the mid 80s, and then there's a few just scattered showers, but most places really staying dry. A little bit better rain chances and maybe a few thunderstorms, like we said, a few possibly strong for tomorrow. And then the weekend looking pretty nice, especially Saturday. Once we get past another kind of reinforcing frontal passage, should see a little bit drier air mass and some slightly cooler temperatures, especially at night as we get past that into the weekend. So the weekend not looking too bad. And then again, as we move into the rest of the day today, most of South Alabama is dry and warm, maybe expecting to be a little bit warmer for tomorrow. And not only in South Alabama, but North Alabama too. Again, it's going to be hot on Friday. Definitely expecting it to be one of the hotter days we've seen here recently on Friday. And at least in South Alabama, that some of those 90s will continue through the weekend as well with pretty low rain chances. And then we may see those rain chances tick back up a little bit as we get into next week. Well, that is your latest forecast update. We'll have another one later on the Alabama Weather Network.